Last year, during the closest election ever, the 𝙤𝙤𝙖𝙣 Liberals promised you that it would get the job done. 12 months on, far from getting the job done, the job seems bigger than it was in 2023. Because the things that have emerged over the last year demonstrate the enormity of the task. They show that things were in some respects even worse than predicted. They also show that we were right to campaign on issues of stopping waste, abuse and corruption, or the need to fix the public finances crisis. Those issues have not magically disappeared. They loom large, unattended and festering. The saga of the McGrail inquiry, whose hearings provided high drama and compulsive viewing for many earlier this year, illustrate the crying need for governance reform. Out of deference to the inquiry chairman, we will not set out our views in detail until his report has been delivered. But it is already obvious that on issues that are beyond the scope of the inquiry, a deep set of changes are required. Because the reality is that we need to change the way things are done by the 𝙤𝙤𝙖 Liberals. The hearings showed we were right to highlight the serious conflicts at the heart of this 𝙤𝙤𝙖 government. The publication of the principal auditor's reports in January this year into public accounts to 2018 set out a catalogue of examples of financial mismanagement, abuse, waste in public finances, or simple lack of transparency. Those reports had been slowed down by the 𝙤𝙤𝙖 Liberals before the last election because they did not pass the necessary legislation that allowed the auditor to conclude his work. Slowing this down made sure these facts did not emerge before the last election. We still await reports into subsequent financial years after 2018. This means that we still do not have the benefit of the conclusions of the independent auditor's views on public finances over the last 6 years. Again, in large measure, that has been down to legislation being blocked by the 𝙤𝙤𝙖 Liberals till this year. That is unacceptable and simply delays scrutiny and accountability of financial practices and dealings with your money. Value for money is a big issue. If there is waste or abuse or a lack of value for money, it affects you. It means that there is less money for wage rises or investments in public services that will benefit all. That is why scrutiny and assessing value is so important when the government does financial deals. The rental of business premises in Queensway for civil servant officers is a good example. How is entering a 21-year lease arrangement at a cost of £22 million, a rental of over £1 million a year, value for money when these same premises were in public ownership before? If the government wanted to use these for civil servant officers, they could have earmarked them for that and just paid the refurbishment cost. Instead, they sold the land for £7.5 million in 2021 only to rent part of it back at a cost of £22 million in 2023. That balance will have to be paid by you. The 𝙤𝙤𝙖 says a claim by GHA industrial workers is unaffordable and unacceptable because it will cost £203,000 a year, but they are happily paying around that sum for just 70 days rent for a property that was in government ownership not that long ago. How is that clever financial planning with your money? How does that benefit the public? That shows a serious lack of direction and an incoherent, broken approach to strategic financial planning. Selling public assets one day, then renting them back another day at high cost, or taking decisions that are simply ill thought through. In July, the Chief Minister announced a levy on cars older than 10 years, which only survived less than a day because of the uproar it caused. A socialist government that did not appreciate the effect that such a measure would have on the lowest paid, and incredibly sought to assert that they were sympathetic because the Chief Minister would also have to endure the same charge on his 10-year-old Porsche. This is a GSLP that has lost its way. As we approach the Christmas holidays, many families will feel the squeeze of financial pressures and the higher cost of living. They will understand, and you will understand, the importance of spending wisely. So why isn't the government with your money? We will continue to hold government to account on all these issues because they affect the money in your pocket. They affect you. They affect your families. On behalf of my colleagues and myself, I want to take the opportunity of wishing you all a happy and peaceful Christmas season. Thank you for watching and for listening.